Hello YouTubers, I'm back again to spread a bit of my own special brand of confusion around. So, hopefully you've been watching my last few videos on regauging, attempting to isolate the relaxation currents of a transformer through a diode and feed them through a light globe. Because those currents are out of phase with the primary, obviously they are Lenz's law free. So the question is, what can we do with them? Well, in my previous video, I'm putting a brief short circuit using this extra 300 turn coil. I've got an 80 turn for the input, a 100 turn for the light globes, and a 300 turn, with which that blue wave puts a brief short across the system. And this regauging effect has, let's say, it can increase the amplitude and it can increase the power output under certain circumstances, applying a load. Now I figured out one of the issues with that is my opto-isolators were leaking ever so slightly and putting a constant load on the system. Now I managed to eliminate almost all of that, but I couldn't get them running perfectly. Now I'm not entirely convinced it's possible to do so. So what I did is, this evening I went ahead and made my own. This is a solar garden light with a, I think it's a 25 watt LED inside. And I'm switching that through the normal circuitry, and the output of the solar panel is going to the normal switching transistor, which is the shorting transistor. So I was trying to eliminate the inaccuracies of the system and my claims to increase power output under load. Now, as it transpires, it wasn't just the shorting load. There were two loads. There was a slight bit of leakage through the op-amp, through the opto-isolator as well. So, well, I'll cut to the experiment, because I found that that bit of leakage was actually helpful to me. So what I've got here is a resistor box, and what I'm going to show you is my attempts to regauge this yellow negative offset energy that we're trying to use. We're trying to maximize this spike. We haven't put any magnets in there yet, but we're trying to optimize this spike and re-gauge it into something more useful. And what I've noticed is putting a 5k load on the system, and that's the best resistance to use, makes a profound effect to the noise. And as you can see, the light, no difference whatsoever. And the scope, but most importantly, if you weren't confused enough already, the input current to the primary. And that's currently at 40 volts, about 42 volts. It makes basically no difference to the globe, no difference whatsoever. Yeah, the input current is reduced by 2/3. We can only speculate why that is at this point. But one difference I'd like to note is that when I apply this 5 ohm load, this is the regauging effect now. We can still regauge successfully, but it makes less difference. In fact, I'm not sure it makes much of a difference at all. Marginal increase to power input, and slight decrease to output power. And when we take the 5K load off, and it is a 5K 6 load, and attempt that again, we'll bring in the regauging again now. That now increases the brightness for about an extra 5% energy. So now the transformer is in a situation where it's running perfectly conventionally. It's got a square wave going into the 80 turn coil, and it's got the secondary coming out and running through a diode in the globe, and I can completely disconnect the third and it would make no difference whatsoever. That's why the efficiency is so bad, because transformers running off this relaxation energy are typically very inefficient. It's currently running at about 12 watts, and that's a 5 watt globe that's not completely lit, that's not fully lit. So if I bring back in the 5 ohm, there we go, and I get rid of the gauging, the transformer sounds particularly vicious, and it's now running at 3.6 watts, about 3.5 watts. And that is quite a good amount of light for 3.5 watts. I'm not claiming over unity, but I suspect that's at least 3 watts out for 3.5 watts in. And that is really remarkably good, given that this transformer is running on relaxation power. I'll show you some of the figures I've come up with on my computer. I spent the last 2 days, in case you're wondering where I am, with a vast myriad of experiments to try and determine what the inherent efficiency of this transformer is like. And basically very low. I tried all the configurations I can possibly think of, and I managed to get about 55% out of it. So naturally, by putting a third coil with a load on there and getting it from 55% to about 80%, I was really delighted. So there's a number of different ways to re-gauge. And during those aforementioned tests, one thing I did notice is that by having 2 output coils, I got rid of the shorting coil and I had 2 purely output coils with the relaxation energy running through a globe. And that was my best result. So you do in fact get a better result. I got 55% with 2 output coils, and before that I was only getting about 35% at best. So if that holds true, I'm probably slightly over 100%, maybe 120. So what I need to test that, of course, is now a transformer with 4 coils on it. 1 primary, 2 outputs, and a shorting coil. And thankfully I have just such a thing. But I'd like to record this before I go on to plugging it in. So that'll be the job for later on. So, tune back in and see how we go. But that very simple act of having 3 times the wire on that shorting coil and putting a brief load on it from a system that's otherwise perfectly conventional decreased the input power by 2/3. There we are. That's some fascinating regauging. Got plenty more ideas too. Come back soon. Hopefully they're even more complicated. Sorry to take up more of your precious evening, but I really needed to show you one more thing. Or rather, I thought you might like to see it. So this regauging system with a 5K load, I chose 5K because it's really the lowest resistance that works well. So what I wanted to show you, to curious peeps, you can tune out if you're not curious about this. Before I start putting positive voltages rather than shorting through the shorting coil, which is something I initially set out to do a few weeks ago. But anyway, this has sort of caught me a bit by surprise, pleasantly. So if I start at, say, 39k, absolutely no effect. 22, also no effect. 10, strangely stuttery, on the borderline of some kind of unhealthy sounding effect. Anyway, 5k, and there the power's dropped right off at 5k, back to 0. And then on this one I've got 2k9, 2k, 17, 12, 1k, all the way back 680, 590, down to 420. So I'm going to spin this around from 2k back to 420 and then open circuit. So here we go. 2k. So as you hopefully saw, on each of those the input power was still down exactly 1/3, and as I load down and put more regauging on, it just lowers the output power slightly, and the story holds true from 360 across to 90 and then back to open circuit again. So basically, the heavier you apply the resistance, the less light you'll get, and the efficiency still remains very good. So through that we can deduce, and I underline the word deduce, that this spike is really what's damaging your efficiency, and we want to try and benefit from that. And we are, kind of, in an unexpected way. It's improving the output considerably whilst improving the input considerably. Just not the way we expected to. So we're going to bank this data and take it forward, because hopefully it will be useful at some point. So I'll show you the last ones just to be sure. We've got a 75 ohm right the way back down to a 5 ohm and then to open circuit. And that was really odd, I hadn't actually noticed that. The really low resistances, the light actually goes up a little bit, so I'm going to do that again. 75 down to 5. 75, 68, 56, 47, 33, 28, 24, 20. Is that 20? And then it goes to 14, and it actually goes up. 14, 10, 5, open circuit. Yeah, and as you can see, the input power actually goes up marginally at that point. So yeah, that's curious. But I think the overall best efficiency is down here with 5k. So yeah, interesting stuff. Now I'm going to try and practice putting some positive offsets on my shorting coil to see if we can make that spike even more damaging. See what happens. Thank you very much.